Okay, students, this is page 21 in the Bastien Piano for Adults, Book 1, Chapter 2. This section starts teaching you to read intervals on the keyboard. An interval is a distance between two notes. So from C to D is what we call a second because we count where we start and where we stop. 1, 2, so that's a second. From C to E is a third because we count 1, 2, 3. 3 keys or 3 notes away. A second is always either from a line note to a space note or a space note to a line note. For instance, D to E, space note to line note. E to F, line note to space note. F to G, space note to line note. A third we sometimes refer to as a skip also because we're simply skipping one note to get to the third note. So C to E, we can call that a skip or a third. D to F, third or skip. E to G, third or skip. Same thing with the left hand. Second, third, third. So on page 21, we have the Interval Etude. You should read all the information and practice the examples first before you try Interval Etude. So one of the last pieces they're writing in the notes for you to help you read. Starts with treble clef with C and D. These will play at the same time because they share a stem. That's what we call a harmonic interval, playing them harmonically together. And then we have C and E sharing one stem stacked together, so that's together also. Here's Interval Etude. I hope you noted the dotted half note at the end, the C in the bass clef. That was a 3-beat note. 1, 2, 3, rest. Page 22 starts with Down by the Station. So this one they tell you which note to start on, but then they take away the cheat codes here. So now you have to start really noticing, is it stepping, is it skipping? Are the notes repeating, moving up, moving down? So you can always go back to page 16 to refer to the picture that they give you there to help you figure out those notes, but you'll start memorizing these very quickly. Down by the Station also uses a dynamic marking of MF, mezzo forte, which means to play medium loud. We'll start with the right hand on middle C. The second line starts in the bass clef with C5, so that's how they let you know where you're starting and how to set up your hands. Here's Down by the Station. Starts with a half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second piece on page 22 is called March. March has a dynamic marking of F for forte. That means to play it loud, which makes sense for a march. Play it with strong sound. This begins in the bass clef, 5 on C, so left hand in C position. Then halfway through the first line, it switches to treble clef and the right hand will play. Notice we have some harmonic intervals. They're stacked with one stem, so that means you'll be playing multiple notes together. Here is March. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 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 rest. The next page, page 23, has one long piece called All Through the Night. This is a lullaby you may recognize. The first two lines of this piece are all written in the treble clef with the left hand bass clef resting. So we'll play right hand first. It starts with finger number 4 on F. So it's still C position, but we're starting on the F of the C position. In the third line, we switch to bass clef, and you see it says finger number 2 on F. So there's our finger number 2 on F. It's also C position. This has one new notation, and that's called a tie. If you notice, sleep my child and peace attend thee all through the night. Night, that word has a whole note tied to another whole note. When you have two of the same notes tied together, you hold it through without repeating the second F. So that two tie notes hold together becomes a long 8-note beat, or 8-beat note, sorry. All right, here's All Through the Night, starting with the right hand on F with 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next piece to play is on page 25. This introduces you to 2 more intervals. We had seconds, thirds. You can guess what comes next. It's a fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember, you count the note you start on and the note you finish on. And then, of course, a fifth would be from the bottom of our C position to top of C position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A fourth is a combination of line and space note. Like C to F, that's a line note to a space note. Or left hand, it would be space note to line note. Or another fourth would be D to G, D to G. So those are both fourths. And the fifth, C to G. Fifths are always either both lines or both spaces. You'll also utilize the tie in this piece as well. See if you hear it when we get to it, and measures 3 to 4 and 7 to 8. So we're starting in the treble clef and then second line bass clef. Here's Interval Workout, page 25. 26 starts with the Bridal March. It's a very familiar tune, and it's how I remember what a fourth sounds like, because Bridal March starts with a fourth. So you'll recognize that interval very clearly. So here's our C position, Bridal March, starting with the fourth from C to F. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stargazing on page 26 is another short piece. This begins with the interval of a fifth. You see C, and then you see 2 line notes up. That's the G. That's a distance of a fifth. Then from there it starts stepping down the C position. Not much left hand in this one. Stargazing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Page 27 has two more short pieces. First is orally. We have a new notation here called the slur. A slur is a curved line over several notes, several different notes. So this is not the same as a tie. A slur is to show you that you're playing legato, which means smooth and connected. So whereas the tie tied together two of the same notes, the slur is just connecting, smoothly connecting many different notes. Orally starts with the left hand, bass clef, C position, and we'll have our right hand ready to go for the second line. Orally, 1, 2, 3, 4. Marching on Main Street is the other piece on page 27. Marching on Main Street starts with the bass clef left hand, starts with finger number 1 on the G, and then drops a fifth to the C. Then you step up to a fourth and a fifth. So it's getting a little bit more complicated. Then we switch to right hand, then switch back to left hand, and switch back to right hand. This is a fun piece, Marching on Main Street. 1, 2, 3, 4. Page 29 is Chimes, which you'll recognize as the Big Ben melody from a doorbell. A lot of people's doorbells have this. Chimes is also going to use the damper pedal, which if you have a damper pedal on your keyboard, it's to use your foot, you press and you hold, and you'll see the indication on the last line of music here. So that's what happens, is that will sustain the notes together. I'll play that line so you can hear the pedal holds it. So even when I let go, the notes are still ringing. That's what pedal does. Okay, Chimes starts in the right hand, third finger on the E, skips to C, D, and then left hand plays G. Those are the only notes you need for this piece. Chimes. And also notice this is in 3/4 time. So now we only have 3 beats in each measure. So when we get to that G in the left hand, you count 3 counts for the dotted half note. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Tie. That does it for chapter 2. There's a couple of review sheets at the end that you should do for review. Thanks.